Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Candid Conversations, and welcome to MCHR, Michigan Coalition for Human Rights, where Michigan Coalition for Human Rights promotes awareness of, commitment to, and advocacy for human rights and the environmental rights of planet Earth through education, community, organization, and action. MCHR opposes forces that suppress human dignity, freedom, and justice, locally and around the world. Well, that is our mission. And today we are actually diving into the gap that has been created through the changes that have happened in our own democracy. And we're talking today about the people who live in Michigan. And I'm talking about those who have been a part of not only our history and building this nation and have their communities. And we're talking about Mexican Americans, we're talking about Spanish Americans, we're talking about Latino Americans, we're talking about our community. And so today we have a very special guest, and she's going to come on and introduce herself. And we also have the treasurer of MCHR, I'm sorry, vice president of MCHR, Dr. Brenda Bryant. And she's going to be joining us today in the conversation. So, Dr. Bryant, can you tell our listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Brenda Bryant, and I came to the United States to do my doctorate in community psychology, and I studied with Dr. George Fairweather, who was a maverick in the field. I was kind of torn where I was going to go, and I read a lot of his stuff, and I decided to go with it. And came here, went to Michigan State, and got my doctorate, which was lovely, and then stayed. I was a poor student, got a job, and needed to eat and all that good stuff, so I stayed here.
Hey.
I went to work at a small research and evaluation firm, and did that for about 5-6 years. And then I joined Marygrove College, where I ran the Master's in the Art of Teaching, which was an online program. But what I love and adored, and I love working at the college with the Immaculate Heart of Mary Sisters, I created, with the help of others, a master's, the first in the country, a master's in social justice. And learned many things from our activist fellows and our professors, and actually had, we have over 300 graduates from the program, and they are all over the country, and many of them are working with immigrant rights. And that's why we're here today and talking about that issue that is really concerning in this country. Because when I came over here, this country was much different than it is today. I remember when you wouldn't even think about throwing out books or banning books or stopping women's rights in this country, or going against the Ukraine for that matter. And now it's almost everything is turned upside down. And it's, to me, and I hear from other people that live here, are citizens here, are visiting here, they're also getting fearful as well. So I'm glad we keep talking about these kinds of things. I think it's very important.
Yes, yes. And I'm so happy and pleased to have been a part of the first cohort of the social justice program, Masters in Social Justice. And believe it or not, today I have to put all of that information to work firsthand. So I'm so glad to have Elena Herrada, who is definitely an activist, who has always been a part of MCHR, and to have her to come on and share today. Hello, Elena. How are you?
Oh, I'm like everybody. We're all in the same bizarre moment. It feels like experimental theater.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was really tempted to cancel today because an issue to discuss on immigrant rights when there are none.
Yeah.
It's a very hard slog. So there's lots and lots of people here in Detroit, thousands of refugees from other places. And I just wanted to shout out that I ran into Sadie this weekend.
Did you?
And she's saying she is the director of an African immigrant rights organization. And she was saying that 26 people have been deported from Detroit who are African Senegalese and other countries. And nobody's even thinking about that. And that was really news to me too, because I hadn't heard it, because I'm here in Southwest mostly, and I'm at Western High School, where we hear, up close and personal, people being picked up, and it's really not detained. It's more like being kidnapped. And that's the way we're going to have to understand it. There are people who have they have court dates, and their court dates are ignored and they're picked up, and it doesn't matter their conduct. It doesn't matter. We're saying that people who have been here for less than 2 years are the targets, but they're picking up people that have been here for 30 years, who have green cards, who have had no criminal activity, who have families here. They're picking up people who participated in human rights issues like pro-Palestine. It's a very repressive moment, and the people are literally being kidnapped. They're not being heard from. They don't get court dates. They don't get to call a lawyer. They're simply missing. And this is during the last phase that this was going on. It was called extraordinary rendition, where you can take a person from a country and take them to a third country. And that's what the Trump administration has done with people, sending them to El Salvador and Guantanamo. Yeah. So to say, I think it's absurd to talk about immigrant rights at this time. I can talk about historic migration, especially from Mexicans, from the standpoint of people who have been here for 100 years and more. Tomorrow I'm going to be on the panel at the local history conference, Michigan local history conference at Oakland University. And they have this every year, and they have panels of people talking about Michigan history. And tomorrow I'll be talking about the repatriation of Mexicans, which is my life's work. Getting the story from people who didn't want to tell it, like my own family. And so the idea of sharing information and documenting, filming, writing is more important now than ever, because some of these things you wouldn't believe it would happen. Like when we told people that, like my dad's family had gotten deported and they were U.S. citizens, they were all born in Detroit, and everybody knew they were born in Detroit. And over 1 million people were sent to Mexico during the Depression because they were simply targeted. It wasn't even a law. It was a policy and a practice. And now we have Trump ignoring federal judges and threatening to remove them, impeach them. An investigator who was killed, and there's very little discussion about that. It's a really dangerous time in our history. Yeah. And I wanted to also mention the fact that people are afraid to travel to the U.S., not only from out of the U.S., because you don't know if you can get back in or not, or if you come back, you'll be detained. Just on regular travel, things that are just regular travel. There's no such thing now. So you can actually lose your ability to return to the U.S. for U.S. citizens as well. And I'll be interested to see the reports on the GDP, on it has been lost in tourism and travel to the U.S. because this has been a destination for people from all over the world forever. And now people are not wanting to come here because they don't know what they're going to be facing when they get here. Not to mention Canada's a little pissed for being treated so much like Mexico right now. And, we are a continent, but there's never been any kind of equality in the way Canada was treated compared to Mexico. And now Canada is really upset because they're being accused of bringing in fentanyl.
I know, it's kind of joke. Like, really? We might bring in hockey players, but I'm not too sure about fentanyl.
It's just a crazy time. Meanwhile, Trump and Musk are going to Fort Knox to look for the missing gold. You can't make any of this up.
You can't. It's ridiculous.
Well,
how quickly it happened.
How quickly. It's been, 2 months? And our own citizens are fearing. I mean, and Elena, you talked about there's no such thing as immigrant rights. Apparently, Trump doesn't believe in the 14th Amendment, which basically says, everybody should have due process, whether you're a citizen or not.
There's no reason to think that Trump knows about the 14th Amendment.
Well, there is that.
But there's absolutely no reason to think that any of this is like, he's looking at this and saying, I wonder if we can do this. So, yeah, it's a really, it's a very different time.
Very different time. I mean, I'm sure everybody saw the video of the young girl being taken away to detention and at Tufts University.
Yep.
And 3 people around her with masks. I mean, what are they hiding? Are they that ashamed that they have to be coming in masks, to take this woman away in handcuffs? Because she said, look at what's going on in terms of Palestine's being killed and almost to extinction, basically. And you wonder, what is she, a terrorist?
I think that it's also really interesting, too, how quickly the universities are folding.
Yeah.
U of M.
U of M
Yep.
Just closed their DEI.
What happened with U of M? Just the DEI? Because they were, we do a lot with the University of Michigan, with some of the other organizations that I'm with, and they were starting to be on the forefront as far as not only immigration, but just equity and inclusion. And not only did they have the verbiage but they put into action, and they even had academics that supported that. And
that's all gone now.
Yeah,
it's all gone now.
They closed the center.
They're not doing. They completely folded.
And it's because the money, right?
Yeah.
Because the money.
Also, Dana Nessel has charged the Palestinian protesters there with felonies, and she won't get off of it.
Yeah, what's this all about? They want to make everybody a terrorist, but when in reality they're being terrorists.
That's how it works. They're turning it around. That's exactly how it works. So it is a time of great repression. The universities fell fast. They fell really fast.
Yeah.
So did the law firms.
Oh yeah, the law firms. Yeah.
The law firms did too.
Yeah, but nobody expected them to have any principles.
And the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The media is falling too. They just paid out what?
They didn't have far to fall. Yeah.
And,
the media definitely didn't have too far to fall. So
this is what I'm hearing. Like, when it comes to legislative proposal to ban citizenship for illegal, they say illegal entrants. but these people are not illegal.
No,
They're not illegal.
No.
And yet, but what it is, from what I'm understanding, is they are making them illegal by calling them terrorists.
Yeah, they're
and criminals,
criminalizing
right?
them. Yeah.
And so as long as they can call them a criminal, then they can deport them.
That's correct. They can do whatever they want though, because they don't have to prove anything.
Right.
They don't have to give them any representation. And also, if you want to look at the history of migration too, so many of the people are coming from places where the U.S. has destroyed their economies or created such war that people had to migrate. That's true of all of Central America. That's true of so many of the African nations. That's true of Mexico, where when NAFTA passed, then people had to leave because they couldn't, there was no way to live. There was no way to live. So they were forced to migrate, and when they migrated, they were criminalized and had to live illegal and get paid far below a U.S. citizen's wages. So we're just watching it. It really feels to me like we're just watching empire crumble in really fast motion. It's like a backward film just going through, where you watch your whole life flash in front of you. That's what it feels like to me, is what's happening with the U.S. And all these countries all over the world are just watching this. And then I wanted to mention, I know this wasn't part of the discussion tonight, but I wanted to mention that Signalgate. Why so many people are so upset that state secrets were shared on Signal, but very few people have mentioned that the U.S. has no business bombing Yemen.
Thank you.
The U.S. is not at war with Yemen, and to be able to just arrogantly share this information and bomb Yemen, bombing the shit out of Yemen, who is absolutely defending Palestine.
Yeah.
If you have to look at it as wrong is right, right is wrong, up is down, good is bad, white is black, it's like 1984.
Yeah. And even before, it's like it's just no realm or reason from the people's point of view, from just the regular people. They are making these choices for themselves. And so we have an increase in detentions and deportations of legal immigrants, of people, and some of them were actually born here.
Yeah. And that's what the Mexican repatriation showed too. But a thing I was going to also mention, I think, which makes it even stranger, is Trump said IRS agreed to share information with people who have been paying taxes. So they're going to deport millions of people who are living here paying taxes, and then they won't have that tax money anymore.
No, they won't.
Who's behind these plans? Those are people who have been paying for years and will never collect. They will never collect. You want to get rid of them?
Ever see it?
Why would they want to get rid of them?
It's like, everybody, I hope you're prepared for no vegetables and stuff in the summer.
That's the workforce too.
Yeah, workforce gone.
And there's even
and Detroit, Detroit.
Yeah, there's even the fact that IRS has
Do we have any idea?
Yeah, none. I think
that's
also
because he got rid of everybody there.
Yeah. And, I think we need to also stress that IRS is cooperating with immigration enforcement. They provide immigration and customs enforcement. They provide ICE with access to protected taxpayer information to locate immigrants targeted for deportation.
Yeah. And now they're not going to be paying no more.
Right. Right. I think that this is a time that, I mean, I could have never guessed that we would be here today, you know. And you're right. We have a history of going into everybody else's business and interfering in elections and interfering in their politics and I just believe everything has gotten out of hand to the point where the people are not considered at all.
No.
Not at all. And so you're right. The as far as immigration, there are no laws now that protect immigrants.
On the books, there are laws. In the Constitution, there are laws that protect.
But the courts are being ignored.
Not to follow the law.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the bottom line.
And there's no consequence for when elected officials have gone outside of the law themselves.
Right.
Right.
There's no checks and balances anymore. So whatever democracy we did have is out the window.
Yep. Yep.
So when you talk about practical support,
well,
what can we do?
That is the $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah, what are the roles of community and organizations now? Because the organizations are being targeted for helping.
Yeah.
They're targeted. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the answer is. I'm at Western High School these days until June, and there's 1,200 refugees there.
My Lord.
And most of them are from Venezuela, which is kind of interesting too, because the Biden administration gave refugee status to a lot of Venezuelans who are dying over there because of sanctions against Venezuela, thanks to the U.S.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so all these people had to leave and come here, and now they're being sent to the El Salvador. It's crazy.
Well, and as I understand it, those sanctions are because the Venezuelans nationalized their oil.
Right.
Instead
they try to keep their own oil.
To the U.S. or having U.S. companies come in and own those companies. They nationalized them, so Venezuela owns them, and that's when the U.S. started to put sanctions on.
Yeah. During the Chavez administration.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So who is speaking out as far as legislatively?
Rashida.
Mm-hmm.
A couple others, not very many. Nationally, there's a few, but they're certainly targets.
Yeah,
but the same people that already were not afraid are not afraid.
Yeah. Like, there's Bernie and there's what's his name, Warren.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She's speaking out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
yep.
And I think the governor of New York.
In Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Maine governor too. She's strong.
But all the rest of them that are not going to not speaking out are also going to get defeated at the polls.
Yeah.
If we have polls.
What?
I'm hoping we still have.
Yeah.
I hope we're still going to have polls. I hope
2 years down the line.
Right.
You know, so
I have a client that I was seeing. He was so faithful, and I had to do an email to one of the social workers. I was seeing him for counseling, and he just disappeared. He was always there, always coming.
Disappeared is what happened, probably.
Yeah, and I when he said his job, he's an engineer, and they were sending him to Mexico for work.
Uh-huh.
And I just don't think he got back. And he has a whole family here, whom he loved.
He shouldn't have
So
gone.
I know, right?
Yep, he shouldn't have gone.
He shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
can't blame them. I mean, hell,
No, he shouldn't have gone. Everybody
Yeah.
knows you can't leave.
Well,
Yeah,
how
right
long
now
ago
you
was
can't
this?
leave.
How long ago is this?
A couple of weeks ago, he texted me when he landed and said, "I'm back. Can you fit me in on Wednesday?" That was
Oh, he's
last week.
back then.
He got back. I don't know if he
Oh.
got all the way back. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he just
I
texted
see.
me when he landed or what.
Yeah.
Through.
You just never know. But I just felt something and I just prayed because to be taken all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is this? Why is this a practice among some people to be okay with taking people
Oh, I don't know.
disrupting family?
Some say it's the first step in fascism, that you
We are in fascism.
that you take the outer groups, the outliers that nobody sort of pays attention to, and you start there. And then when that becomes, well, we won't question that, then it's the next group that probably speaks out a little. And as it goes.
Right. Wow. So
that's my understanding.
Yeah, and I'm looking at today, I'm looking at MCHR and our efforts and what we do in as far as building up and looking at our communities. So how is in such a beautiful community in Southwest Detroit?
Yeah.
Elena, can you describe the community today because of what has happened?
It's very quiet. Salvation Army's quiet, which is really unusual. When I ask at the counter on Senior Day, where is everybody? People really, really like. There was a long conversation about ICE coming around. This young guy who works there, he's probably 20. He said that he went to his neighbor's baby's baptism. This is 2 weeks ago on Saturday. They went to the baptism. When they got back, ICE was waiting for him and they took him. He's brand new baby, just got baptized, and all the neighbors were there and they just came and took him. It's like kidnapping. It's really like kidnappings, and people are afraid to go anywhere. So, there's a lot of mutual aid in Southwest Detroit, though. There's a lot of mutual aid of people shopping and doing things so that you don't have to leave the house. I've never seen it like this, really. I've never seen it like this.
And in Southwest, there's many stores, many restaurants.
Yeah.
Are the owners still operating? I
haven't known of any to close yet. Like the rest of Detroit's got these restaurants closing all the time. These fancy places open up, and then you say, "Oh, I'm going to go there."
Yeah.
then it's gone. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, economically, we're more stable than the rest of the city because Southwest Detroit is not relying on startup money and the stuff you get from Doug and it's mostly stores and a lot of the stores in a style that's very similar to Mexico. They have prepared food in there, so you can sit down and have food. That's a very common feature of grocery stores. And also there's not a lot of stores that are not needed. There's not, like, you can get your staples and food, but there's not a lot of like luxury, or not even luxury, but like there's not like boutiques and
upscales kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We do have a coffee shop.
Really nice.
There's a brand new coffee shop called Vamanos Cafe, which I'll give a big shout out to.
Okay.
It's a good community space at 4444 West Verner. So let me
Yay.
shout out Vamanos Cafe, and pretty soon the Mexican Town Development Corporation, God willing, will finally get their permit for the coffee shop there on Bagley. So that's on this side of the bridge. Because you know how the freeway divided us up like that. So on this side of the freeway, we don't have anything. And so it's down on the block where the Secretary of State of Mexican Village is over there on this side, just before you go across to like Los Galandes. So hopefully that will get its license. And I have really buckled down to shopping extremely locally and walking more places than I normally do. Because I think that every day that you're not participating in this death economy, we're sticking it to the man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what, Dr. Bryant and I were just talking about that. Just like, people have the dates coming up. I know April 5th is one that's coming up. We did something on March 28th. Was it? No,
it was the
February 28th.
February 28th.
Yeah, February 28th. And right. And so I said, I'm not doing any of that. Because
we're doing what?
No
shopping.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, the boycott.
The boycott. So they got another one coming up on April 5th, which is fine. But my thing is, nothing should prosper right now because the people aren't.
Right.
The people are not prospering. So why should we let somebody else prosper and we're not? In
the meantime, the things going on, like another utility hike, 2 more, the water and the DTE are going up again. And that's going on. Well, we don't have any increases in money.
Right.
Yeah.
No increase in income, but a lot of increase in outgoing.
Yeah. Make it make sense. Make that make sense. That doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
But I think people becoming more intentional with what you do with your time and what you do with your money.
Yeah.
What you do with your energy is really important. How you spend your time. I think it's very important. And so I know MCHR wants to support, definitely see how the many different ways we can support. And so not our next meeting, but we do want to have a meeting where we meet down there or either a gathering or something in Mexican Village at a restaurant or a coffee shop, to support and show support, and even creating a day where people support and where we get out and support our community, is very important. And I'm advising people, all over, like you said, I'm look where you need to go.
Yep.
Pay attention to what's around you and support those places that are in your community. It's so important. There's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
So much fear. Yeah. I know. So much fear.
So much.
There's a big May Day event. May 1st. On Thursday, May 1st. It's going to kick off at the train station, and then there will be a march. I'm not sure of which. I think it's heading downtown to ICE, toward ICE, and it's a very strong march. If people want to come on Thursday at 4 p.m. at the train station, it might actually even be people are gathering by 3 on Thursday, May 1st. But if you can go, it should be a good turnout. It's the first time the labor movement's been involved in it, because they always observe Labor Day instead, because they have been very ahistoric, but now they're actually getting involved, and they're going to be participating in it as well. So if you want to put the word out, and I'll send you the email and the invitation.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, send that to me, and I'll get that out, because that's very important to do that. we've got to address this in so many different ways, because this is not just affecting, and this is the thing, and, and I'm going to say it. Sad to say, but many people were advised about Project 2025. Many people were advised about the changes that were supposed to happen, even though this administration had denied it in the beginning. Many people were advised. And so here we are today, and everything that was written has been attempted to be put in place. And okay, so we're here. But the beginning of Project 2025, some people were saying to themselves, that's for other people, but not for me. It's not going to affect me.
Right.
And I think this is where we need to really take a look at that. What do you tell yourself? If you're saying, oh, that's for them over there, that's not going to affect me. And then in reality, it affected everybody.
Yeah.
Most people. And so to say that I'm not one with my brother, I'm not one with my sister, I'm not one in community with the people who I am in community with, you're doing yourself and your community a dissatisfaction.
Agreed.
You know, so May 1st, mark your calendars. I will definitely get that out.
Yep.
And when we talk about fascism, I hope I said that right.
You did.
I don't want to participate in it. It starts with economic instability and national crisis, right?
Yep.
Yep. That's
Yep.
the argument.
Someone to scapegoat.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, political leaders exploit the public's fear and anxiety, positioning themselves as the only solution.
I wonder if that's why they're wearing masks.
Probably.
I mean, to me, it seems so cowardly, but
Yeah,
they think that it's more fearful, or they can, scare people and come to your door.
Right. And
Yep.
the blame is shifted onto a marginalized group or political opponents.
Yeah.
Yep. It's really true, but now there's so many people that are left out.
Yeah.
And countries.
Countries is correct.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's almost nobody that's not being
Right.
threatened with some kind of a takeover or invasion. But it's a very strange time. I take my inspiration every day from the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum. The first Jewish president of Mexico has recognized Palestine as a state and is really pushing back against Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People love her.
Yeah.
So, it's right here. It's right here every day. So I am happy to be inspired by people around the world.
That's good. That's good. And I think because I was speaking earlier about this today, and that is that we've been through a lot of trauma as a country, as citizens. We've had a lot of trauma, and not a moment to stop and say, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Like, I believe we need to shut it down. We need to shut down for 3 days to heal. We need to start a healing process. How do we heal and get our minds back? I mean, can you imagine we've gone through the sickness and COVID and people still getting sick? The flu is at a all-time high that we haven't seen before. You've got all these other things going on, and then this and then that, and it's one after another. And there's no reprieve.
Right.
No.
When do we say, okay, I need everything to stop?
Yep. I know. I know.
Well, and it's so difficult because it's an attack on our sensibilities, on our honor, on our integrity. I mean, them standing out there with the whole signal thing where they let that go and they go, well, it's not classified.
Yes, they lied.
Talking about not classified.
And why are they doing it? Why are they bombing Yemen?
I know. I mean, it's just absolutely. I mean, all of it. And now some people say they were on signal, so it wouldn't be recorded historically.
Which is illegal.
I know. Of course, it's all illegal, but they don't seem to care.
And there's no consequence.
No.
There's no consequence.
No sensibility, no compassion. Where's any compassion?
Right.
And
people need to know when they say they're bombing Yemen, this is not just the town. This is not just the country. People are there. Children are there.
Children.
They're people. It's people.
Yeah. I mean, I think of what's happening to the children when, like you said, he goes to a christening and they're taken away. What? We're ruining people's lives. I mean, everything.
Yep. I know.
I just don't see how people have a conscience. Yeah. Terrible. I mean, who does that without a conscience? I want people to know that when it comes to fascism, you have that economic instability, national crisis. Then you have the rise of an authoritarian leader, and then scapegoating and division. This is what's happening.
And the disappearing of people.
Yes.
Number one thing.
Hate speech and discrimination become normalized. Yeah. And let's talk about the erosion of the democratic institutions.
Not to mention that stupid ass party.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? It just is amazing. I don't hear the T word enough that rhymes with reason. I haven't heard that enough.
Yep.
What does it take for a person to qualify under that?
Yep. It takes a judge, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe that doesn't even matter anymore.
Right.
I mean, what happens when you're willing to say, I don't care?
Yeah. I tell you. So with the erosion of our institutions, they weaken, like you said, the judicial independence is weakened. The courts become tools of the ruling party. Media outlets are controlled and attacked for opposing the regime.
Yep.
Political opponents are harassed, jailed, and discredited, and the electoral processes are manipulated to secure power. This is all that's been happening. And then let's talk about the military. The expansion of state power. All of this happens.
Yep. Not to mention removing all Black people and Latinos from the top ranks in the military when the military is 40% Mexican.
Woo!
Or how about the news? They've been removing people of color from the news.
Yep.
All of a sudden, they're not anchors anymore. They're not.
Oh, is that right?
Look at MSNBC.
I don't ever see those.
I mean,
is that right?
They got rid of Joy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They moved Jim Acosta to CNN in the middle of the night.
Wow. And our technical engineer says residents in Southwest Detroit are being billed from ambulances that rescued them from the flood that they had.
Oh, that's
Well,
pretty funny.
no
I
surprise
didn't even
there.
know that.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, I mean, it's so much information now that's coming across, of course, not through the mainstream media, but through other outlets that we don't hear, that we're not going to hear in mainstream media. But some of that information is coming out, and it's like, how bad do you want to be?
Yep.
Why is that okay? Why are you okay with being evil?
I don't
I
know.
mean, this is something.
I don't know. It is very discouraging, if
Yeah.
not terror.
And the civil liberties are
Yeah.
restricted. We have no voice, no voice at all. It's and when you do come up with real information, they want to call it fake news.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Barbara somebody said it started with Black people first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we have people watching?
In theory, yeah, we do.
How many people?
Yeah.
Can you see them?
Well, we
Who's
can't
here?
see on stream. We can't see on StreamYard. We'll be able to see later.
But can you tell who's here?
No,
Ask them
not
if
on
they
this
got any
one.
questions.
We can't, but
We can't. But
our lovely
we're going to do that soon. Yeah, we're getting ready. We're getting ready to get some real stuff going so we can answer questions. No, we're not doing that tonight, but we will soon. The idea tonight was just for us to have the conversation, to start it. And hopefully we can go back and do another one. It'd be great to maybe do it at the coffee shop. We always wanted to do a kind of conversations. Maybe we can go into Mexican Village and do it at the coffee shop.
at the Domino's Cafe.
Yeah, that sounded really good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I think
Yeah.
she's going to be open till 8.
Okay.
Till 8.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe we have to make a date and say, everybody, come on down
Yep.
to Domino's Cafe.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have
And
healthy sandwiches and food. They don't have liquor. They have coffee and smoothies. Lots of good food. Yep.
Oh,
If you want booze, we have to go somewhere else.
So listen, if anyone does have questions from tonight, they can email us at support@mchr.org, and we'll get those questions answered. I wish I could say you could call this organization or that organization for support, but right now, all the organizations are at risk.
Yep. I would also ask you to. Oh, there's a couple of announcements I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Events and everything that we do towards taking it to the man. And the General Baker Institute and I are sponsoring a flea market on, I think it's April 18th. Let me make sure it's the day before Easter.
Okay.
Because we planned it for the both days, and then somebody said I can't come on Sunday because it's Easter, and I was like, we did that, so we changed it to Saturday only.
Okay.
But it's going to be from 11 to 5. People can pay $5, bring your table. No, you don't have to bring a table, and bring your own stuff and keep your own money.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So if you want to participate and bring your stuff and keep your own money. So
that's a great idea.
What's the date?
I want to say April. Let me check the date for sure.
Is it the 19th? I
It's
can't remember.
the day before Easter.
Whatever that is.
I got to look. I think it's the 19th.
I think they removed it from calendars, didn't they? it's probably Christmas.
Probably.
Well, that's what they did. They removed
Here's the flyer. I'll send the flyer over.
Okay, that'd be great.
It is Saturday, April 19th.
Yeah.
11:30 to 4:30. And I'll send the flyer over that I have, but you'll
Please
know.
send that flyer over.
Okay.
Oh, that's really good. That's good. That's
It's a lot of fun. You know, the General Baker Institute is a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't been there, you must go.
Definitely.
They
How
do
long has he
political
been-
education.
How long
What?
has he been gone now? Not that long.
General died. Don't get me to lying. I want to say, I can't even say. I can't even say, but
2-3 years ago.
yeah, no, it's longer than that.
Has it been
Way
longer?
before COVID. Way before COVID. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I'll send the flyer over. If it says Sunday on there, then I have to send you another one because
Okay.
and it's very simple. Just bring your stuff, and they have a beautiful space. And if it's successful, we're going to do them outside in the summertime. It's right on Livernois Lodge.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be wonderful.
Yep. Uh-huh.
That's wonderful. Okay. Yeah. The Livernois Lodge back in the day was a huge shopping area
Uh-huh.
before the riots.
Uh-huh.
Before the riots, it was huge.
There's a beautiful General Baker Institute is a great big space with a great big lot, and they have parking, and
Mhm.
they make posters there. They have all kinds of crafts. They have Zumba. They got all kinds of stuff, and it's also the space of political education. So it's really a wonderful spot.
Excellent. Elena and Dr. Bryant, thank you so much. I'm telling you, listen, if you guys don't know about Elena, she calls herself Chicana. You still call yourself that?
I do. I'll be the last one standing. Yep. I will be the last one standing. Yep. Yeah, I'm really glad to talk to you. I don't want to pretend like there's rights when there aren't, but I also don't want to say we just don't know what is in store for us yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everything that's ever happened, every right that ever came into existence was not because somebody said, oh, how about this? It's because of struggle. And we don't even know where to begin to push back right now. But there's people meeting every single day. I can't even keep up with the kinds of all the meetings going on. Moratorium is wild with the May 1st event, and that's meant to be an organizing kickoff for a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
And resistance is key, and we can only do it if we have the energy and the,
Quantum physics. Sister Amanda Miller used to say, quantum physics.
Yes.
When all the energy of all these little groups will eventually move everything.
Yep, that's what's going to happen here.
Keep talking and sending blessings to everyone.
Yep. Nobody could have organized us like Trump is, though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just say that he's causing us to act quickly and to come together and to really realize the truth, and to put down the barriers and really look at what is holding us together. How are we alike, and how can we stand together? So although I wouldn't think of trying to do it like this, I would prefer another way.
Right. But you don't get to choose, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys.
Soon.
Yes, and we support you. We support you 100%. We're so glad to have you a part of MCHR. You have been a pillar, and so has Dr. Bryant, and I'm just so grateful to have both of you on tonight. Of course, and I must say, these are two of my best professors I ever had in my whole life. So excited to have you guys on this platform.
Sandy,
I love you dearly.
Everybody light and love. Love you too.
All righty. Join us next month for Candid Conversations at MCHR. Have a beautiful night. Good night.